Good afternoon, everyone. I am Inez E. Dickens, the Assembly member from the 70th Assembly District, and as your host today, I decided to invite all of you as panelists for this TV production on MNN, mainly because it's Women's History Month, Herstory. And I don't know who better would be guests to talk about their restaurant businesses in the Harlem community than all of you here today. I know it's been tough. It's been tough for everyone for these last few years during the pandemic. But it's been tough for us before the pandemic hit. We had a hard time. The restaurant business has been hit especially hard. I'm glad to see that you all are still in business with probable changes, of course. And that's why I wanted you, all of you, to share your experiences as women entrepreneurs of successful restaurants. I want to introduce everyone first. Please raise your hand or acknowledge so everyone will know exactly who you are. Melba Wilson, Melba's Restaurant. Melba.
How are you, Assemblywoman?
Adrienne Ferguson, B Squared of Harlem. Hey, Adrienne.
Hi, everyone.
How are you? Justine Masters, The Edge of Harlem. Where's
Justine.
Justine. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Excenia Mete. Momma, see, I want to tell you, she's a special woman that I met a couple of years ago, and I'll share that later.
And I love her.
And this is a family that I go back, my family goes back a long time with, and that's Alyah Horsford-Sidberry of the Cove.
Hi, everyone.
So thank you all for joining. Now, I've got a few questions to ask. The effects of shutting down for a small period of time, that's what what we thought it was going to be for a short period of time. And it turned out to be a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And many of you tried to stay open by trying to offer meals for seniors and for families that were in need of help. Many of you tried to feed homeless. You tried to step up and do what you could. Tell me,
I have to also say it's really poignant that you've chosen this day to host this event, because it was 2 years ago to the date that the restaurant industry in New York City was shut down. So I always say things don't happen by happenstance. However, the addition of outdoor seating was paramount to the success, not just of the business, but of the community, and more importantly, for keeping our extended family members working, meaning our employees. When the restaurant industry first shut down, I wasn't so much more concerned about me. I was concerned about our community, the 41 people that we employ at Melba's. None of us thought it was going to be this long. But I think what was most scariest is that we couldn't say you were going to be out of work for a week or for a month. We had no clue as to how long this would be. And for a lot of us, and I'm sure a lot of the ladies on this panel as well, we're Black females in a white male dominated industry. So it was a pandemic on top of a pandemic for us. Couple that with being in Harlem and female and Black. I mean, it was really, really a tough time. However, the addition of the outdoor seating really saved us. And me being born, bred, and buttered here in Harlem and being in this community for 18 years, I'd never had outdoor seating. But it really allowed us to be able to bring people to work. David Rockwell came and designed not just my space, but hundreds of spaces around the city. And it really saved us at a time that we and our community needed saving.
This one, I'd like to, Justine.
Yes.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And this is about the masks, that when they did say that we could come partially, you could open up inside for whatever it was, 20%, 10%, whatever it was. How was it for your staff, whether we're talking about the preparers of the food, as well as for your customers who would had to walk in with a mask, but had to take it off, obviously, to eat? But your staff, how was it? Because a lot of people had difficulty with the masks.
Yeah.
And, to have it on all day, sometimes people felt like they couldn't hardly breathe.
Yeah.
How did you handle that for your staff?
Well,
being in this business,
I would say that the mask challenge was a challenge, and it's up until they just dropped the mandate in the last few weeks, especially for my kitchen. At the Edge Harlem, we have a very small kitchen. And so my cooks struggled with keeping their masks on, but we had to be vigilant about their health and the health of our customers. My front of the house staff didn't have any issues because they were concerned for their well-being. And I think it was really a less pleasant part of the process to have to constantly remind customers to put their masks on if they would stand up and walk to the bathroom. It was draining, actually. And I'm sure anybody who stayed open during the pandemic can relate. It was like we were the mask police, basically, inside of our establishments, and it was draining.
I see your partners are laughing because shaking.
Yes, they are, because they know. They I'm sure they will agree with me.
Now, let me ask you, now that the mask mandate has been lifted,
yeah,
do you feel some type of normalcy returning to your customers and your business? Because we're now really talking about business. So customers are your business.
Yes, I would say for us, we are just starting to pick back up in the last couple of weeks because Omicron definitely put a dent in the progress. Mm-hmm. December, January, and February. I would say now that we're in March and it's getting warmer, it's starting to feel like old times, which I'm happy to say, but it's a long road to recovery, because while the people are coming back out, we are met with the challenge of staffing. At least I am at the Edge Harlem. Like the labor pool has become much smaller, and that is the biggest challenge for our business at this point, in my mind.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Now, Alyah,
Yes.
I was just at your Cove, and you had somebody standing out there checking temperatures and seeing that you had to produce that you had a vaccine, etc.
Yes.
Did you have to endure an additional cost? And that's really something for all of you. Did you have to endure an additional cost for staff to have someone to that's all they did, stand out there and check, where's your mask, put your mask on, did you take your vaccine, let me see the vaccine card, let me take your temperature on your wrist or your brow. Did that mean you had to pay somebody extra, or did you have to remove somebody that would have been doing something else in your business and then bring them out to do just that?
I actually had endured an additional cost because we were already short-staffed. So I couldn't pull anyone to do that. And on top of it, when it first started, we had a lot of people in the community that were resistant to it.
Yeah.
So I actually had to hire security to be in the front. So just so my staff didn't have to have that interaction with a customer before they then had to serve, after serve them. So I paid for security from the beginning till now to be at the front and check for their cards and do the temperature.
Because sometimes I've seen people get very annoyed that they're being stopped to check their masks. And I've seen them get annoyed when you ask them put the mask on, or, to ask to take their temperature. Not everyone, but I have seen where some few people have gotten annoyed. It didn't become physical, of course, but they were annoyed that they had to produce the card. I went to something for one of the judges, and I had to produce my card, and I don't carry the card, but I had it on my phone, and I couldn't find it right there, and they wouldn't let me in until I found it. And so I understood. I mean, I didn't get upset, but somebody else that didn't have their card got very upset.
They did. And although we had the signs up and although it was a mandate on us, the customers did not separate that. It was very personal, as if the establishment was setting these rules and trying to stop them from coming in, no matter what signs we had up and how we explained to them that this is a mandate that we have to follow. So it was challenging. I'm happy that we don't have to police it anymore. Mm-hmm. And so that's great for us. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, Mama Z's is on, and Excenia, hi, how are you? And thank you for being on. And she has the last in New York City, I would imagine, the last Black-owned deli in the city of New York, and it's owned by a Black woman. And so I'm so proud of that, because they're going out of business. But I'd like to know. From you, Excenia, you didn't have an outside, did you?
No, not yet. I'm working on it.
All right. Well, now you had difficulty getting assistance for your small business.
Yes.
Were you ever able to get any help?
No, I did not. No, I did not. Still till today, I have not gotten help. But I have, with the help of you, because you sent me out a lot of places to apply for, I have applied and applied and applied, and I still have not received one dime from anyone. Wait, I take that back. Arizona reached out to me when they seen, because I had to actually put up a GoFundMe page to stay open. So when I put up that GoFundMe page, Arizona seen it, and they called me. Because before they had came to my store and put me in their magazine, they was like, oh, you was our #1 deli and we don't want to see you close. So they actually posted that GoFundMe on different pages, New York 1, Channel 2. They had them come, they put me in a newspaper. They did an interview on Channel 1. And they also donated $25,000 to my store. And that was how, and with the help of you, Miss Inez, let me tell you something. You are awesome. You are the most awesome person that I have ever met that's running for anything. And I tell everybody that come to my store that want to post anything. You are awesome. You have reached out to me. You have constantly sent me places to apply for. You have came here. You have sent your staff here. And even Alyah, I want to say thank you to Alyah too, because when she first came into my deli and found out that it was a Black-owned deli, that helped me with that kind of help. And you know, I would never thought that us as women would have to struggle so hard, because we're struggling. I'm still struggling, but we're still here and we're still standing with people like you that are out there reaching out to us and helping us and checking on us. Not only do you send stuff, you still call and you check on us and you asked us, well, if this is not happening, well, let's go to this avenue. And I love that. I love that about you. Thank you very much for all
you know, women have to stick together. And I'm gonna tell you something that's a quote that I tell everybody. A quiet woman seldom makes history. A quiet woman seldom makes history. So it means that we have to get out and fight for ourselves, band together, because in numbers there is force. Absolutely. And work together and not feel that we are competing with one another, but instead helping one another.
Absolutely.
You are so right about that, Assemblywoman. Yeah. We're so much stronger together. And yes. I have this saying that I say, we are our sisters' keepers. Yes. And I live by that. I totally agree with you.
Now while you're on, Melba, tell me, what are you the president of? Tell us what you're the president of. Come on.
I guess I'm the president of my son at some time. I'm the president of the New York City Hospitality Alliance, the first female president, as well as the first president of color. And there are over 24,000 restaurants in the city and nightlife venues as well. And we provide a nice bit of change to the city. And what I always tell people is that the food and beverage industry is the second largest privately owned sector in this country. So we're very important in terms of the economic value that we add to communities. And if you look at it, we're pretty much one of the first jobs that everyone gets when they, when they can get their working papers. So we're a major, and when I say we, I mean the food and beverage industry, we're a major contributor to the city as well. So happy to be the president, and hopefully there'll be another woman and a person of color as well.
Yeah, we passed a piece of legislation, thanks to you and your organization, to be of assistance to our restaurants. Can you tell about that, Melba, the piece of legislation I got through?
Well, let's say thanks to you as well, Assemblywoman, because I do know first-handedly that you fought in Albany. You were on the call. It was a Zoom call at 9 o'clock in the morning, and they did not get to hear the legislation that you were introducing until almost 4 o'clock in the morning. And to know that you stayed on that Zoom that long, that you held out. And I do believe that a few people thought that you would have given up, but they don't know. You're from Harlem. We don't give up here in Harlem. But you've been a fighter
for our businesses, and I wasn't going to let them. That's why they did it at 4, and I wasn't going to allow that, because that was
4 o'clock in the morning.
Tell them just quickly what that bill was about.
You're a trooper.
To help. Can you tell what it was about?
Yeah, I think was that the liquor one? I know you've stood in so many times. Was that
liquor license?
It was a liquor license. We had a lot of businesses that were suffering because people had signed leases and they could not get temporary liquor license. So they have these venues that they're paying rent for in a lot of cases, and they couldn't serve liquor. And we know that serving liquor is a main component in our industry in terms of profit. As restaurateurs, we're already operating at a slim, very, very slim margins, anywhere from about 7 to 12% if you're lucky.
And also on Excenia, I want you to get in touch with Melba.
Yes, I was going to ask that after the end of this. Yes.
Get in touch with Melba, please, when it's over. Now, there's another question. This tantamount. Now that we're returning, like Justine said, to somewhat of a normalcy, do you see so fast, so quickly, because we just opened up again, really, do you see that you are building from where you left off? And this is for all of you, from where you left off at your business, where you had to close up virtually, where people couldn't come inside, you had to take it to the door, etc. Or are you, starting again lower than that, like almost starting again, almost?
Yeah, for us, it's really starting over because so many people have actually left the city. So your demographic is totally different. Not only has the industry changed, but people have changed. So they're tiptoeing out, if you will, to kind of re-navigate how they will socialize. It's really taken us back. And I mean, even now with this war going on, that's another blow to us, as food costs rise and everything else rises.
Yeah.
We're still behind the 8 ball.
Justine, what do you think? Because you were the first one that really piqued my mind about this.
Yeah, everybody's saying, "Oh, return to normal." We are a different world now. I feel the hospitality industry is just completely changed. And for the Edge Harlem, we're starting over in a sense. Obviously, we have 7.5 years of experience under our belt, but like right before the pandemic hit, we were humming along and our staff was in a good place. And now it's like I've gone back to having a newborn. I had an 8-year-old and now I have a newborn again, where you have to babysit and you have to be there because you're short-staffed. And the customers are also, different in a way where they are hesitant. They want things a certain way. They're scared of coming inside. They don't want to sit close. There's all sorts of nuances that are going along with this kind of new environment. But I'm hopeful, I'm hopeful that we can rebuild hospitality in New York, and that we come back stronger. That's what I'm hopeful for. But I agree with the other ladies that it is like starting over at this point.
I'm sorry, we lost just yesterday, I think it was. We had a bill that came up that allowed restaurants to sell and take out
alcohol to go,
mixed drinks, single mixed drinks.
Right.
And the same ones that fought me about the liquor licenses, fought about that, and we weren't able to get that passed. Right. I didn't wait till 4:00 in the morning. That's right. The truth. I should have waited till 4 a.m. Maybe I might have been able to get something done, but it's really unfortunate because you try to think of innovative ways,
right,
to assist, and it's particularly the Black and brown owned restaurants. Because we did not get the help, and the women did not get the same amount of help that the other restaurants may have gotten. And like for instance, Excenia, got very little help by comparison. And I was very nervous about her. Every day I drove past, I was, looked, because I, wanted to just make sure her doors were still open. Right. And she was still there. So I was very, very, very concerned. And I'm glad that we were able to bring everybody together so that you could meet each other. So even if you knew each other or didn't know each other, so that you get to see each other on a different level other than in your domain of restaurant. Right. Where you're seeing each other, some away from that, where we can talk and discuss the issues, the problems, the positives, the negatives that impact upon us. And let's work together to see what can we do.
Absolutely.
What can we do together, united? Because, you may come up with ideas that somebody else may not have thought about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because of the uniqueness of your individual restaurant, because each of you have a restaurant, but I've been to all of your restaurants, and each of you has something that's unique dishes to the restaurant, to that restaurant. So it's very, very important that you continue to exist, that you continue to survive and thrive. Not just survive, but thrive. Surviving means you can hardly make it. You're babysitting. But now we're
Right.
talking about you being able to grow and send that one to college. That's what we're talking about. So, I'm very, very concerned about that. Quickly, does anybody have a closing statement about, I don't care what it is, just please, I want to thank all of you for being on. I'm going to start with you, Melba. Closing statement, quick.
My revenue went up after other people opened up on Frederick Douglass Boulevard. So I think it's the same message for Harlem. It's not about me, it's about we. And at the end of the day, we are our sister keepers and we have to support one another.
Well, I have to commend everyone for having the Harlem tenacity.
I would like to say thank you so much for having me here today. I found this to be incredibly inspiring.
I want to say thank you once again, Ms. Inez. This was great. And like Justine said, that was something that I was going to say. I think that we should continue this because even the little bit of time that we've been on here, I've learned a lot.
Okay, I want our public to know just where you're located, what street, and the cross streets.
Melba's Restaurant, located on the southwest corner of 114th Street and Frederick Douglass Boulevard here in Harlem.
Thank you. Excenia, Momma Z.
Momma Z's Food to Please is located at 2061 7th Avenue at the corner of 123rd Street.
Justine, tell us about the Edge.
The Edge Harlem is off the beaten path on 139th and Edgecombe Avenue.
Come on, Adrienne.
All right, B Squared Harlem is on 119th between St. Nicholas and Frederick Douglass Boulevard in the heart of Harlem.
All right, and the Cove, is Alyah on?
I am. Cove Lounge, 325 Malcolm X Boulevard between 126th Street and 127th in the heart of Harlem.
I want to thank all of you for coming on. I appreciate all of the panelists who, are giving their time out of your busy schedules, because I know it's difficult, and to talk about what's going on with all of our restaurants and our women-owned. This is a history. And remember, a quiet woman seldom makes history. Thank you all again. And I reach out to me, 212-866-5809 at any time. I am there to help, to serve, to be there. I'm a child of Harlem. I want all of us to succeed. Be blessed and be safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.